Hello everyone. In this video we're going to get away from some of the heady metaphysical stuff that's really difficult for most people to wrap their minds around. We're going to try to bring this down to earth and be a little more direct, a little more simple. I've decided that I need a little bit more time to prepare for the topic of the what I call the topological metaphor. That's the name that Dr. Joseph Farrell gives it, the topological metaphor of the medium, he calls it, where we get into where all these trinities come from within the various metaphysical systems around the world. But for now, I want to talk about some practical implications for what we've discussed so far. So as you may recall, what I said was that whereas, for example, Kashmir Shaivism identifies the feminine, the goddess, as being the principle of power or energy, we said that it is more akin to Heraclitus Logos, which is symbolized by the fire. It is it's basically the principle of flux, which as it was elucidated by him, really came the closest, I think, to anyone in the ancient world to describing what we would today call quantum potentiality. And that principle is rather than belonging to one side of the Godhead or the other, the masculine or the feminine, it really just describes what God as a whole does, how he is in himself. It's really the essential unity of the whole person and the activity of the whole person from all eternity, because we said that he's creating from all eternity. There's not a beginning, there's not an end to it. This has always been going on. And we'll be getting into more of the metaphysical detail regarding that when I at some point bring up Jason Giorgiani's view in this series. It'll be in this series, even though I have another series laid out that I'm planning that will be just on Jason Giorgiani. But we can't really avoid discussing him in this series as we go through certain things. So I will be getting to that. But so yeah, the dynamic power aspect is not the feminine. It's not the god or the goddess. It's the person as a whole. And then, whereas Kashmir Shaivism conflates self-awareness with consciousness and makes that part of Shiva, I say, no, we need to divide those. They're two different things. Consciousness belongs to the feminine, and self-awareness or the nous or the mind belongs to the God, the masculine. The nous refers to a very deep intuitive faculty within the human person, as well as within God. And then it enables us to achieve higher levels of consciousness. It enables us to have direct communion and fellowship with God. It enables us to connect with him through things like meditation and mystical contemplation and so on. This is something that the mineral world, the plant world, the animal world does not have. So they all have consciousness. Certainly self-awareness entails consciousness. And so a self-aware person is necessarily going to be conscious, but self-awareness is a little bit more than consciousness. It's not even a higher degree of consciousness. It's something qualitatively different that gives us the capability to relate to God in a way that the mineral world, the plant world, and the animal world cannot. So the implications of that then, and then of course consciousness belonging to the feminine, that is what I'm associating with the body of God, or what we might call just the field, I guess. Well, it's going to be directly related to the topic of the topological metaphor, which so I guess I don't want to get too far into that right now. But anyway, it's that out of which everything is manifested, right, in the manifest realm. Now, the implications of that are that, in my view, because there's a qualitative difference between self-awareness or pure awareness and consciousness, since we have a nous, we cannot simply evolve from the mineral or the plant or the animal to a human being, because that is something, well, okay, I will give the caveat that it is possible that we could biologically evolve, and then after biologically attaining to a particular form, i.e. the human body, perhaps God at that point implants a nous. But I'm inclined not to think that we evolve out of these lower life forms. But it's possible. But secondly, again, because I see the nous as qualitatively different from consciousness, I do not, in my mind, that precludes the possibility of reincarnation from a lower form to a human being. So I see human beings reincarnating, but I don't see, plants or animals eventually circling around to becoming humans. And for that matter, I don't see humans being able to regress in an incarnation, in a new incarnation, due to an immoral lifestyle, for example. I don't see them as a result becoming a tree or something like that. We would we would suffer on some level, but not in that capacity. Excuse me. So, yeah, those are the two main points I wanted to make in this video. And, I don't think that our position in the cosmos is particularly unique, in the sense that I think that there are most likely many races like our own that were genetically engineered by a higher, sort of more advanced human-like entity. So I don't think that's new. I think this is probably going on all over the place. And so I'm inclined to think that humans can be genetically engineered, but maybe we don't necessarily start out in this lower dimension, in this sort of physical realm. Maybe we don't start out that way via evolution. Perhaps these higher entities, these interdimensional entities, can genetically use the material, not only of themselves, but of apes, for example, like supposedly the Anunnaki did, this ancient Sumerians did. They can sort of use their genetic material to create something like us, but we don't necessarily, would not, if left to ourselves, necessarily evolve from apes. So that's where I'm at on that right now. And then, of course, as I said, we don't reincarnate out of those lower life forms. We are, therefore, quite unique in that sense. We're not unique in the sense that we're the only intelligences in the universe. No, we're not unique in that sense. There are intelligences all over the universe. But true intelligence of that stripe makes us unique from other life forms. So with that, I will end this and post it, and then we will get into some other interesting practical implications as I see it of my metaphysical worldview.